Now we're going to talk about PAILs and RAILs. So over the course of the next 8 weeks, we're going to be implementing an exercise protocol called PAILs and RAILs. You're going to be doing it quite a bit. I promise we're getting to the end of the technical emails. So PAILs and RAILs stands for progressive angular isometric loading. RAILs is regressive isometric loading. All we're really doing is we're getting to your end range of motion through your joint. In this case, it would be external rotation, and then we're isometrically loading it. So an isometric strength training is contracting your muscle but without any movement happening. So if, as an example, if I was to push against my leg here, which I'm doing, I'm isometrically loading my arm because I'm pushing into something but it's not moving. So that's isometric strength training. It's used in a lot of different strength training, and this is going to be one of the big key factors in relation to strengthening up your joints and strengthening up your connective tissue. So we're going to be getting to your end ranges of motion and then isometrically loading to increase the strength through those joints. Now, couple of quick things. So progressive and regressive simply means, once with my neck, if I go this way, progressive is the angle that's getting progressively larger, regressive is the angle that's getting progressively smaller. Really, really simple. Now, every time you've got a PAILs and RAILs video, there is an explanation specifically on how to do that specific exercise. So don't worry about it, it's all coming up. However, I thought I'd just give you the basic rundown. So generally speaking, PAILs and RAILs is used for 2 different reasons, and each time we do those 2 different reasons, we do it at different intensity levels. So you can either do it at 60 to 70% intensity, or you can do it at 100% intensity. Now, everyone's doing all their PAILs and RAILs in their first week at 60%, but that's just because we're getting used to it. As we progress into your second and third week, you will be getting up to 100% intensities. 100% intensity PAILs and RAILs are designed to increase ranges of motion. It's designed to make neurological change in your joints, in your nervous system, to give you new range. When we do a PAILs and RAILs at 100%, what we will be doing is holding your isometric tension for about 20 to 30 seconds, because that's as long as you're going to be able to hold it for. You will then get fatigued. If we do it at 60 or 70%, what's happening with your body is we're actually just building up the connective tissue capacity. So if you've got an injury with your elbow or your knee, or you're coming back from something, you're going to find this a little bit more, and I'm going to be asking you to do 60 to 70% intensities, but in this case you're going to be doing it for 60 seconds or even 90 seconds. So either way, when you get to the end of the 20 or 30 seconds at 100%, you should be completely fatigued, or the joint should be completely fatigued at that point. You shouldn't be able to go any longer. The same thing at the 60 to 70% effort. Once you get to that end of that 60 seconds or 90 seconds that you've been programmed, you should not have any effort to go any further as well. You should be fatigued in that joint too. And I like to use the analogy of, imagine doing a squat. So you're doing a 100 kilo squat, assuming 100 kilos is the most you could possibly squat. You can only do 1 squat and then you'd be fatigued. That only takes a few seconds, but it's only 1 squat and it's 100 kilos. So that's your 100% effort with your PAILs and RAILs. What you're doing with that squat is you're generating neurological adaptation for your strength. You're not actually building up the muscles. Now, if you drop that 100 kilos down to 60 or 70 kilos, you might be able to do 15 or 20 repetitions of that squat. You're not making any neurological changes at that point. What you are doing is you're building up the capacity, you're building up your muscles. What you also find is that first few squats, they're pretty easy, but when you get to the end, you've got nothing left. Either way, that last squat is just as hard as that 1 rep squat that you did at 100 kilos, and that's what you're aiming for if you've got that 60 to 70% effort for that 60 to 90 seconds. So with our PAILs and RAILs, you'll have a 2-minute you'll get a 2-minute stretch. As an example, if we're doing a hip internal rotation, I'm going to get my hip here and I'm going to rotate my body to my full internal rotation of my hip, and I'm just going to hold it here for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to isometrically load things. So you're going to receive an email that goes and a video with more detail in relation to that hip internal rotation, but that's your PAILs and RAILs. So you've got 2 versions. One is 100%. That's designed to increase your range of motion, and you've got your 60-70% at your 60 to 90 seconds. That is designed to increase the capacity of your connective tissue. So if you're coming back from injuries, that's something that you're going to have in your program. Anyway, enjoy your PAILs and RAILs. Once again, if you've got any questions, feel free to send me a message. This will be one of the last emails you receive, the last videos you watch. Trust me, once you get going, all this will be made very, very clear, and you'll be really happy for having seen these videos to make it really simple for you. But anyway, enjoy, I really can't wait for you to get started and feeling, well, how I feel with my body, pain-free. Anyway, enjoy.